I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon and welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines. A LUSAKA drug addict is at the verge of insanity. African countries urged to ratify the Africa Risk Capacity Treaty. Join me with the details after this commercial.
The trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the
She has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
And other media news in detail. Kamabuta Ward Councillor of Mufumwe District in Northwestern Province, Kailis Makalaundu, has described the temporary job for the 2022 census as unfair for those who have no access to funds to apply. Government through the Zambia Statistics Agency advertised for temporary jobs to conduct the census of housing and population in August 2022, which required all applicants to apply through a code that was given.
Up almost 2/3 of the country's working age population, and almost 1/4 of them are unemployed, according to a World Bank estimate. As a means of assisting youth earn a living, government has urged youths across the country to take advantage and apply for the 2022 census short-term jobs. However, some youths in Mufumwe District, in the Northwestern Province, are facing challenges to apply for the 45,000 short-term jobs as 2022 census supervisors. Applicants for various positions are required to apply using their cell phones without internet, and the procedure on how to apply has been unveiled on the Ministry of Finance and National Planning Facebook page, as well as the Zambia 2022 census Facebook page. However, some youths in the district complain of lack of access to phones, lamenting that if government is not providing another option before the deadline, most rural youths will be disadvantaged.
We are appealing to the government in terms of census. Some people like me here in village where we are, I don't have a smartphone. How am I going to apply through the online? Please, we are appealing to the government. Let them bring back and individually applying.
He adds that apart from challenges with mobile networks, most people in rural areas do not know how to operate cell phones. Meanwhile, Kamambuta Ward Councillor of Northwestern Province in Mufumwe District added his voice.
Following the advert that is circulating on the media from the chief government spokesperson for recruitment of temporary jobs for 2022 census, I think it has become a thorn to some of us who stays in the rural areas, where it is stating that we should apply online. Online, how is it going to be possible, those that stays in the rural areas? Because it will be very difficult. It's not everyone who access internet in the rural setup. We have got different places in rural districts. We have got places like Kashima, we have got places like Miruji and elsewhere. Those people, they don't have access to internet. But how are they going to apply through online? My appeal to the government is that let them bring it to manual, let them apply physical. They apply physical because this job is for the youth, is for the rural people who are fluent in local languages. But if you say no, people should apply online, then you are hindering the chances of the youth in rural setups.
The Zambia Statistics Agency will conduct 2022 census on population and housing from August 18th to September 14th, a comprehensive census in Zambia was first conducted in 1969, followed by 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, and now 2022, after it failed to take off in 2020 due to lack of resources. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
A distressed mother of LUSAKA's Kanyama compound is seeking assistance from relevant authorities to help rehabilitate her 27-year-old drug addict son who is at the verge of insanity. In an interview with Camnet TV, Ms. Langiwe Zulu says her son Ephraim Banda is slowly becoming a fag who destroys people's property once he takes drugs.
Once an energetic person whose dream was to become a plumber and contribute to the country's national development, but this dream seemed to be going the opposite direction for Ephraim Banda of LUSAKA's Kanyama compound, who is at the verge of completely turning mad. The medical expert attributes the condition to excessive abuse of drugs. At only 27 years old, Ephraim's life has turned into an unexplainable reality. Just from the conversation, one is able to tell that not everything is well with him.
Come over, man. Come over.
Despite being in this condition, Ephraim still troubles his mother for money so that he can sneak out of the house and get himself the opportunity to use a very famous drug among his youths in the shanties of Kanyama, known as Volo, a drug that is almost leaving him insane. The pain of seeing a once energetic son turn himself into a complete stranger leaves Langiwe Zulu in total distress.
Such a vuta maningi huyu. Ani madrugs ndiye amuvuta. Ndiye mina mfundisa ndana mapapers ya yanotibana lemba kuchani chite hospital kukabwe ni pole mbata anafunta na madrugs. Soma ile tandizo mimi ningafune kwenda banalema hapa mwandi ni 5 years manje uyu mwana sale kakutenga madrugs pa Friday betachoka kuchaina pa Friday last week banamchita cancel kufika kuno kunyumba anaenda futi kubemba futi chamba futi na kufunta unaona sasa nkaziki kama ununga vitu vya ndema window kunyumba anapukanya banditezo tapa mazi bosa anapukanya manyumba yawe naona kama motoka yawe ni wake.
She is stressed, tired, but the love for her son is pushing her to ensure that he is completely healed from his addiction to drugs.
So ine mani nalema nifika kwa tandizo kapaka kuli wameka ntandize kapani kumulasa nyeledi kapani kumudrena kuchachusi kuti chichoke freeze mwandi babe ningachite ndiye tandizo mimi nifunako ine pano kuti nitandize ku mwandi uyu mwana naye nalema na uyu mwana huyu 5 years this year was 5 years manje afunda cha peso chape so apenza ku school kukabwe hapa next month so hapa August afuni kone mbe exam zo ka course ka plumbing so hapa naleka afunda so abgera ko sazalemba na exam.
And Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights Organization has called on various stakeholders to help and take up the case of 27-year-old Ephraim Banda.
We are facing a lot of challenges in the communities. So right now, I think this is an opportunity for the government, and this is an opportunity for the institution like ADDICT to come on board, and we work hand in hand to fight the issue of drug abuse in the communities. And we also appealing to those who are selling certain drugs like in the pharmacies, chemists. There are certain drugs that are being sold in the communities. I think it's something that we need to eliminate as a country.
The use of illicit drugs is now the major challenge Zambia must deal with. According to data, around 275 million people used drugs worldwide in 2020, while over 36 million people suffered from drug disorders, according to the 2021 World Drug Report by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.
That is there requires a multifaceted kind of approach for us to ensure that we stamp it out. As a commission, we've been relying on the joint operations committees for us to conduct investigations and to conduct operations in those areas. But at the same time, we need each and every person to, after we have conducted those operations, to come in and ensure that they assist in maintaining the peace and sanity that would have been brought about.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has encouraged the African Union member states to consider signing and ratifying the Africa Risk Capacity Treaty. Addressing delegates during the opening of the African Union Mid-Year Coordination meeting in Lusaka Sunday, President Hichilema says doing so will open up assistance channels in planning, preparing and responding to shocks in a timely and cost-effective manner.
The fourth African Union Media Summit has taken place in Lusaka Sunday under the theme Building Resilience in Nutrition and Food Security Across the African Continent, Strengthening Agriculture, Accelerate the Human Capital, Social and Economic Development. The summit brings together members of the Bureau of the Assembly of African Union and the chairperson of regional economic communities on the continent to discuss pertinent issues relating to integration agenda and other issues affecting the African continent. Addressing delegates during the opening of the summit, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema encouraged the European Union member states to consider signing and ratifying the Africa Risk Capacity Treaty.
We need to effectively address the impact of climate change and other shocks. We wish to encourage member states, ourselves, to sign and ratify the Africa Risk Capacity Treaty, which will open up assistance channels in planning, preparing, and responding to these shocks in a timely and cost-effective manner.
President Hichilema also spoke to the need for Africa to work and act together to silence the guns and all hotbeds of violence on the continent, among other important things.
Let's work and act together to silence the guns and all the hotbeds of violence on our continent, such as the extremist insurgent activities in some of our dear countries, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Somalia, the Sahel, and our sister republic next door here in Mozambique. This is alien to us on this part of Africa. But it's come, and it can go anywhere, anytime. It does not recognize territorial boundaries.
Meanwhile, AU Chairperson Macky Sall has called for increased investment in the agriculture sector through institutions like the African Development Bank and Global Alliance for Food Security.
Very quickly embark on fertilizer production in Africa. We have to look at all of these components, whether it be phosphatic fertilizers or gas. We have to engage in partnerships and produce on the continent enough fertilizers for African agriculture.
And AU Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Muhammad says the media meeting is looking at projecting the future and challenges that need to be overcome and planned integration.
We have to, in fact, ask ourselves about the various partnerships in which we are engaged. And then when you look at the objectives that we have to attain, in this case, we have to consider, to rethink and to readjust the partnerships according to our priorities.
And speaking at the same meeting, European Union Council President Charles Michel says cooperation between Europe and Africa will help fight climate change.
We share the same ambition to build together, piece by piece, a common space of peace, security, prosperity and progress. This is our common promise. This must be our common duty to the young generations of Africa and Europe. And now, we must follow through on our commitments, and that's precisely what we have begun to do together, through respectful and quality partnerships.
The African continent now looks to see the manifestation of the fruits of the summit, even as Africa looks to accelerate implementation of Agenda 2026 flagship projects. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Kamlanga Ward residents in Jack Compound of Kabwata constituency in Lusaka have bemoaned selective development in the past few years, stating that in comparison to other areas of the constituency, their ward has remained without a police post, health post or market.
The lack of inclusive development has continued to be one of the major factors causing a drawback to Zambia's development agenda, as disparities between areas are diverse. While some areas have basic facilities like health posts, schools, and police posts, others do not. This is the case of Kamlanga Ward in Lusaka's Kabwata constituency, which has caused residents to demand for equal development, stating that they have continued to lag behind in basic facilities in comparison to other parts of the constituency. The residents of Kamlanga Ward aired these grievances Sunday morning at St. Helena's Catholic Church in the area when Kabwata constituency Member of Parliament Mr. Andrew Tayengwa visited the church to engage church leaders on developmental issues.
But police bali kuisha bati tagala isula balanga to attack sana ma student balat kuibe basakala makam mtu alichula. And then the other things about the health post ila malika ila health post igomba file sometimes Monday to Friday weekends ishtakulu kulwala hivi family holidays ishtaba bombe. Alors clinic yakala now but you know in change canon like being under.
Meanwhile, Mr. Tayengwa says the power to bring development lies with the people who have the task of informing their civic leaders on what they are lacking.
Dipemba kuti 27 pamozi, especially muno mukamulanga. Kamulanga ndio yosalira ku mawadi yose. Mulibe hospital, mulibe police post, and market ambayo nakupangirani si market ni roundabout. So ni kama 27 pamozi because ine ni zakala kamwakani. Is making sure na ma schools maona ma schools ya memuli nayo. Muna secondary school ya bidi. Inangwiri kulai inangwiri kono. Ma primary school ya bidi. But mukaona free education ya bwerera but was bachoka kuma private school and mu government kuma kala congestion.
Kamlanga Ward 9 Councillor Mr. Jackson Sikuyuba has also added his voice.
We are the least developed ward. And believe me, after our 5 years, okay, I won't talk much. I don't want to say, I'm sorry, but after 5 years, mzaka wao natio mekato wao kasi bantu aba they mean we why kitukuko bana ba mulungu nichatutonze.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development UPND Director for Investment and Empowerment Mr. Acta Maunga says it is disappointing that few people have embraced the forming of cooperatives under the Constituency Development Fund CDF, citing strict guidelines.
People are very disorganized. Cooperatives, people of God, mungaipange as a family. This is the only way development can reach everyone. It's through cooperatives. Ngaine nashta apply neka as a company or as an individual, they will not get the benefit. But kuma cooperative, mungapange cooperative batate, bamai, bana, bakazeni chani, mapanga chani, ka cooperative.
Speaking when receiving the visitors, Father James Nyondo of St. Helena Catholic Church has reminded other churches of the important role that they play as a partner in development. Zipporah Mchala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A LUSAKA drug addict is at the verge of insanity. African countries urged to ratify the Africa Risk Capacity Treaty. Those were the headlines. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.